Controversies in politics go hand in hand. There's nothing new there. It also helps in holding politicians accountable. But do we not need to distinguish between what we need to make a noise about and what we should understand better first? The most recent example is tech giant Elon Musk's comments on EVMs or electronic voting machines. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan, where we'll discuss the controversies revolving around EVMs. Let's first take a look at what happened. Retweeting John F. Kennedy Jr., the independent candidate in the US presidential race, Elon Musk highlighted risks of EVM hacking by humans or AI. He went ahead and called for their elimination from the electoral process altogether. Unsurprisingly, Indian politicians, parties, and government organizations all reacted in great haste, immediately linking his comments to the Indian political discourse around EVMs. While the opposition renewed its allegations over the opacity surrounding EVMs in India, former Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar was quick to question the sweeping generalization. Chandrasekhar offered to provide the billionaire with a tutorial on how EVMs really work. BJP's Andhra Pradesh unit chief D. Purandeshwari went further and urged the Election Commission to invite Elon Musk to attempt hacking the Indian electronic voting machines. The Election Commission was also quick to come to the defense of Indian EVMs in the whole debacle. Clearly, so much for informed decision. There is an urgent need to clear the air, and we are here to do just that. But before we decide anything, let us take a look at the whole story. We begin with telling you a little bit about EVMs in India, who makes them, what they are, how they function, how much they cost, and how safe they are. Indian EVMs and batteries used to run them are designed by Election Commission's Technical Expert Committee. EVMs are electronic devices which have two units, a control unit and a balloting unit, which are connected together with a wire. While the control unit remains with the polling officer, the balloting unit is placed inside the voting compartment. The polling officer presses the ballot button on the control unit to release a ballot so that the voter can register his or her preferred vote. While they are electronic devices, the Election Commission explains that EVMs do not require electricity and run on ordinary batteries. Therefore, they are not connected to any systems or electronic devices. Now, just how expensive is the hardware? The older EVMs used to cost around Rs 8,670 per unit, while the EVMs used after 2013 are slightly costlier at around Rs 17,000. While Indian EVMs are not connected to a wired or wireless network of any kind, they do have a chip. But the poll body claims that once encrypted, the chip cannot be rewritten or reprogrammed. Not only this, the EC mentions several other safety features for EVMs, highlighting that they are produced and processed under sanitized conditions. They are made tamper-proof through no less than 275 safety protocols, are stored and transported under rigorous safeguards, and that they cannot be stuffed since each vote takes 7 seconds to register. While in theory, tampering can still be possible at an institutional level through physical intervention, since opposition has tremendous presence at all stages of the electoral process, the chances of such tampering are slim. Moreover, unlike in the US, EVMs in India are standalone machines with mandatory voter-verifiable paper audit trail and are not connected to the internet. They also create an immutable audit trail for post-incident forensics. Not only does the Election Commission claim infallibility of Indian EVMs, it has also helped provide EVMs to Nepal, Bhutan, and Namibia. The sanctity of every vote in a democracy, however, is unquestionable, and the desire for larger transparency in the voting process is not only understandable but also legitimate. While concerns and controversies surrounding EVMs in India and elsewhere are a common occurrence in almost all post-election result periods, and there may be some truth to what BJP leader Anil Antony pointed out in his comment on the Musk controversy, raising questions which centralize free and fair elections form the bedrock of not just the Indian democracy, but democracies in general. However, The most recent controversy alleging vote tampering in the Mumbai Northwest Lok Sabha seat in the recently concluded 2024 Lok Sabha elections raises concerns about growing misinformation about EVMs. The Election Commission not only categorically rejected tampering claims, denounced publication of false news, but has also issued notices to both Midday and Marathi Daily Lokmat regarding the same. The judiciary has also spoken on the matter. It rejected verification claims for EVM voting in its April 2024 judgment, but it did highlight some persisting issues and directed the Election Commission to adopt some new post-poll procedures in order to provide enough time for petitions against election results. The Apex Court also suggested that the poll body look into the suggestion that VVPAT slips can be counted using a counting machine rather than by humans. So if the Indian EVMs are credible, why did Musk's comment create such a huge stir? This has more to do with India's domestic political discourse rather than Musk's own focus or intentions. Contrary to the popular Indian understanding, EVM-related controversies in the country during the Lok Sabha elections did not elicit any response whatsoever by Musk. He retweeted Kennedy Jr., who was referring to voting irregularities related to EVMs in Puerto Rico's primary elections, which were later resolved by their election commission using the paper trail of receipts from ballot counting machines. Musk used this case to raise 2 points, one of which was overt, while the other was not. For the first, terminology is significant. The term hacking in the Silicon Valley parlance, the one that Musk used it in, is about making any machine, however advanced or rudimentary, from a complex machine to a fork, do what it is not designed to do. He used it to emphasize the fallibility of certain EVMs, especially those connected to the internet. The covert messaging in the comment was his allusion to allegations of hacking of the 2016 US presidential elections, since the direct vote recording machines used in 27 states in the country are connected to a server and operate using the internet, as opposed to what happens in India. What is also interesting to see is a comparative map of Republicans and Democrats' presence across states and use of paper ballot, DRE, that is direct recording electronic, with or without paper trail in the US. There is of course a larger picture regarding EVMs. Debates about EVMs are not limited to India or the US alone. There are about 31 countries around the world that use or have used EVMs for political elections over the years. Apart from India, 3 other countries use EVMs for nationwide elections. These are Bhutan, Brazil, and Venezuela. 11 nations use EVMs in some parts of the country, while 5 have ongoing pilots on EVMs. For governments, the benefits of e-voting include more efficient elections and a faster count. But as is always the case, the practice is not without drawbacks. For EVMs, it includes risk of cyber attacks or software errors and difficulty in identifying and verifying online votes. And while the relationship between democracies and EVMs is emphasized in the public domain, only 24 of the 120 democracies have used it at various times. Like all things, there are success stories like that of India, Estonia, and Brazil, and there are tales of caution like those in cases of Germany and Switzerland. After a largely successful trial period spanning from 1998 to 2005, Germany's Federal Constitutional Court in 2009 stressed the need for transparency in the electoral process without specialist technical knowledge and deemed them unconstitutional. As a result, EVMs were discontinued in the country. Netherlands, which had supplied the EVMs used in Germany and used EVMs for over 2 decades, re-evaluated EVM usage in their own country under criticism for security and government's management of voter technologies and suspended EVM use in the year 2008. Several other countries, including the Philippines, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Ireland, Japan, and the UK, initiated electronic voting, but gave it up after a short trial as they did not find them to be cyber secure. Electronic voting is of several types. There are those that register votes immediately and print out receipts but aren't connected to the internet, like in India. Then there are those where only the counting of votes happens electronically. There are also countries like Estonia that use internet-based remote voting, while others have internet-based voting at designated polling stations. 5 countries, namely Estonia, Belgium, Bulgaria, The UAE and France use EVMs connected to the internet. Norway and Mexico will use e-voting for citizens living abroad in 2024. Estonia was the first country in the world to use online voting in 2005. Last year, the European country held the world's first mostly digital elections with more electronic votes, that's about 51%, cast than paper votes, that's 49% for the first time. To conclude, questions about EVMs arise from both political considerations as well as well-founded concerns based on transparency and worries about cyber attacks. This ongoing debate is not only relevant but also necessary to provide the world with better, more secure and credible voting systems. The controversy around Elon Musk's comments, however, and reactions to it in India are misplaced, especially if one considers Musk's business interests in the thriving democratic Indian market. That's all in this edition of Statecraft. Goodbye and take care.